Part 9. Super God System becomes infinitely stronger. Author, Shu Xiangzike. Chapter 81. Lu Neng sneered, "What? Want to take action? Let me remind you, no matter what the rumors in the school are like, even if you are really the principal's son, I, Lu Neng, will still follow you." As soon as the wrong word came out, Chu Wei's slap was printed directly on the other person's face. A sound of bang resounded throughout the second floor. Lu Neng and the people around him were stunned. This was really about taking action at the slightest disagreement. Lu Neng was furious. I will fight." Before Lu Neng could use his hand to attack Chu Wei slapped him in the face again. Lu Neng is only at level 6 of spiritual energy. Such a person is like an ant in Chu Wei's heart. Pa! Pa! Then there were 2 more slaps, and Lu Neng spun 2 magic circles of love on the spot. Then he fell dizzy and fell directly in front of Chu Wei. People around him didn't dare to show off their anger. Lu Neng's level 6 spiritual energy was considered to be above average among the students. Unexpectedly, he was like a little chicken in Chu Wei's hands. Who dares to speak? Whoever dares to speak is looking for insult. Chu Wei glanced around, then took out the spirit cultivation manual and held it high in his hand. Everyone was stunned. What is he going to do? Who knows? I saw the aura from Chu Wei's body pouring into the book, and an aura formation engraved with many large cauldron patterns immediately appeared on the surface of the book. The formation set up by others to cover up the contents of the book was revealed by Chu Wei using spiritual energy. This is the spiritual energy formation. Why is there a spiritual energy formation in the book? What's going on? Even the old man who came down was surprised. He had been looking after the books on the 3rd floor for so many years, but he had never discovered that someone actually carved the spiritual energy formation in this spiritual cultivation manual. I saw Chu Wei sketching the spiritual energy, pouring traces of spiritual energy into the formation, and using the formation carver's unique technique to erase the formation carved from the spiritual energy. The formation was erased, and the true content of the book was immediately revealed to everyone. Great devouring method. Is this the real name of this book? What level is this technique? How come I've never heard of it? For a moment, the scene exploded. If I guessed correctly, this should be a spiritual level skill, the old man said with a frown. He really didn't expect that the skill he disliked the most was actually a spiritual level skill. Moreover, he has also heard that this skill is not simple. Perhaps it is precisely because of its difficulty that it was deliberately covered up by formations. Spirit level skills are impossible. There is actually a spirit level skill in the school. Didn't I hear that the highest level of martial arts in the school is the martial arts level? That's not the point. The point is, didn't you realize that this Chu Wei is actually a formation carver? Only then did everyone react. Oh my God, does this Chu Wei have 3 heads and 6 arms? First he was a 2nd level weapon refiner, and now he is a formation carving master. At the same time, he knocked out Lu Neng, who is at level 6 in spirit energy, with just 3 slaps. That's awesome. No wonder the principal directly rated Chu Wei as SS level. It turns out that Chu Wei is so powerful. He really doesn't have any merit at all. That's awesome. Teacher, if there's nothing else, I'll leave first. Chu Wei looked at the old man and said. The old man had been kind before, and Chu Wei didn't mean to blame him. After saying that, Chu Wei turned and left. When leaving, Chu Wei heard the discussion behind him was still very lively. This Lu Neng is really looking for an insult. That is, someone said they didn't know how to choose the exercises, but when their hands shook, the spirit level exercises came out. He said that he had taken the back door and had no strength, but he was slapped 3 times and taught to spin in circles. But one thing he did, I think he really became famous this time. Why are you famous? You're famous for being insulted. Ha 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 ha. After leaving the martial arts building, Chu Wei went directly to the library. Chu Wei went to the library to see if there were any books that recorded the statue and the giant sword he saw in the mutant forest yesterday. For example, there may be records in books about important people who can arrange 5th-level spiritual energy formations. Super God system becomes infinitely stronger. Author, Shu Xiangzike. Chapter 82. However, Chu Wei was disappointed. There was no record of the statue and the white stone giant sword anywhere in the books in the library. While reading, Chu Wei had thought about asking the system directly with wisdom points, but then he thought it was a bit of a loss. Wisdom attribute points are not easy to obtain. He only has 6 points left now, so he should keep it. No matter who the statue is, he will break the formation and take the giant sword and leave. After coming out of the library, Chu Wei secretly summed up how much materials he still needed to break the 5 elements magic formation. First of all, there are 5 kinds of superpowers: gold, wood, water, fire, and earth. Chu Wei has one now, but Chu Wei has something to replace it. That is the material that is born with gold, or the skeleton of a mutant beast that has died with the superpower. At that time, he will use other materials to break the formation with the same formation. In addition to these, Chu Wei also needs an extremely large spiritual stone and 5 1-meter-long black steel. These things can be seen at the Tang Family Chamber of Commerce. Maybe there will be some there. After everything was planned, it was evening, and Chu Wei walked towards the dormitory, preparing to formally collect materials tomorrow. On the way, Chu Wei took the time to look at the great devouring skill that he had obtained. This was really a strange skill. The first page of the skill actually said that you should choose a dark place when practicing for the first time. However, Chu Wei had such a place in his mind, that is, a cave not far from the back mountain of the school. Maybe he could try it tomorrow. Back to the dormitory. As soon as he entered the door, his roommate Li Chen hugged Chu Wei's thigh and said exaggeratedly, "Brother Chu, the spiritual energy pill this morning was left for us by you, right?" Several other roommates also looked over together. Chu Wei didn't expect that the reaction of a spiritual energy pill would be so big, and he could only nod helplessly. "Brother Chu, I'm determined to hug your thigh, and I will be the pendant on your thigh in the future." "Li Chen, I didn't expect you to be so shameless." Other roommates looked at him with contempt. However, before Chu Wei could have expected it, Zhou Fan, Tang Chao and Zhang Lin came over and saved Chu Wei's thigh. "Brother Chu, we are all pendants on your thigh." Chu Wei was really at a loss for words, so he had to take out a few more spiritual energy pills and share them with them. Then Chu Wei went into the bathroom and washed his face and brushed his teeth casually. Chu Wei looked at himself in the mirror in the bathroom. With a handsome face, perfect height, and outstanding strength, he has now become the benchmark of the school's male god. Ding! The host actually has such a shameless idea, and the spiritual energy value is rewarded with 100,000. Oh my god! System, your ridicule is too unique. Can you ridicule me a few more times? The next day, in a dark cave, a young man sat cross-legged, holding a cultivation spell in his hands. There was a vortex around his body, sucking the spiritual energy within a radius of a kilometer. This young man was Chu Wei. Chu Wei found such a dark cave next to the back mountain of the school early in the morning to practice the great devouring skill. The vortex around Chu Wei was getting stronger and stronger, and the spiritual energy within a radius of 1 kilometer was sucked into Chu Wei's body like wisps of transparent mist. After a while, Chu Wei exhaled a long breath, and he could clearly feel that the spiritual energy in his body had become stronger. System, check my spiritual energy value. Ding! The host's current spiritual energy value is 300,000/4 million. Chu Wei frowned slightly in surprise, I just practiced the great devouring skill for a while and my spiritual energy value actually increased by 100,000. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super God system becomes infinitely stronger. Author, Xu Xiangzike. Chapter 83. Originally, Chu Wei practiced the technique out of curiosity and did not think about how much spiritual energy he could gain through the technique. However, he did not expect that this technique seemed to give him some surprises. He gained 100,000 spiritual energy after practicing once, which was equivalent to the spiritual energy of a first-level mutant beast extracted by the system. But this technique has limitations. You can only create a vortex to absorb once a day. Chu Wei felt a little regretful. If there were no such limitations, it would be terrifying to practice the great devouring technique. That's it? 100,000 a day. At this rate, when I finish collecting the materials to break the magic seal, I may just reach the realm of a superpower. When I enter the forest again, I will have more security. Chu Wei stood up and headed out of the cave. This cave was very humid and dark. Chu Wei did not like it very much. However, the great devouring technique required such an environment for practice, and Chu Wei had no choice. Walking out of the cave, Chu Wei took a deep breath. The air outside is still better. Hey! Something is wrong. Why can't I feel a trace of spiritual energy in this air? Chu Wei frowned. Spiritual energy exists in the air. Wherever there is air, there will be spiritual energy. However, Chu Wei now keenly sensed that there was no spiritual energy in the air he breathed. Could it be, did my great devouring technique absorb all the spiritual energy in the surrounding air at once? Chu Wei's eyes were filled with disbelief. You know, the spiritual energy in the air can be continuously regenerated. The speed at which a person absorbs spiritual energy during cultivation is far slower than the speed at which spiritual energy regenerates. So Chu Wei has never heard of anyone absorbing all the spiritual energy in the air at once during cultivation. There is something strange about this great devouring technique. Chu Wei recalled that when he was practicing the technique just now, there was a vortex around him. The vortex would automatically absorb the spiritual energy around him, and then force it into his body. When it was poured into his body, Chu Wei felt pain at first, but after Chu Wei turned on the half-dragon state and strengthened his body defense, the pain disappeared. No matter if it's weird or not, it's useful to me anyway. Chu Wei was too lazy to think about it, so he just walked away. Today, he still has to go to the Tang Family Chamber of Commerce to look at the materials for breaking the formation. Chu Wei had just left here, and he saw that on a big tree not far away, the principal Longfang was looking at Chu Wei's back with a serious face. I didn't expect, this great devouring technique was still discovered by someone, and, this kid seems to have mastered it. I only heard Longfang muttering to himself, the great devouring technique forcibly sucks the spiritual energy between heaven and earth into one's body, and doesn't care whether the practitioner's body can bear it. This is a little careless and the spiritual energy forcibly sucked into the body will explode and die. When I first got it, I also thought about it again and again, and I still didn't have the courage to practice it. I didn't expect this kid to dare. It seems that I worried about his safety in vain. Longfang smiled and shook his head. In fact, after Chu Wei left the martial arts building yesterday, the old man guarding the third floor told the principal that Chu Wei had obtained the great devouring technique. The principal was afraid that Chu Wei would have problems with his cultivation, so he followed him secretly. It seems that this kid is not only good at refining weapons, but also a formation master, and his physique is also quite special, otherwise he would not be able to control the great devouring technique. It seems that I, Longfang, really have an amazing student this time. Who dares to say that my Taiyuan City Ziyuling school has no good seedlings in the future? Haha, Longfang smiled proudly. Super God system becomes infinitely stronger. Author, Xu Xiangzike. Chapter 84. But, if you practice this great swallowing skill and enter the realm of superpowers, you will definitely get a dark superpower. Dark, there has been constant friction between dark superpowers and light superpowers over the years. After this kid gains dark powers, he will probably have to fight with other people who have light powers in the future. No matter what, struggle is inevitable among geniuses. It just depends on how powerful he can grow. I'm looking forward to it. After Chu Wei left, he walked directly out of the school gate and headed towards the Tang Family Chamber of Commerce. Just walking on the street outside the school gate, stop, a fast red convertible or a sports car suddenly stopped in front of Chu Wei. There was a woman in the sports car. She had a wavy haircut and cheeks like an internet celebrity. Especially her eyes that were like water. She was definitely a charming beauty that made men want to hold her in their arms. It was Tang Meyer, the daughter of the boss of the Tang Family Chamber of Commerce. Tang Meyer teased, "Long time no see, the man who refines weapons at the pinnacle of Taiyuan City." Chu Wei looked at Tang Meyer and her wavy hairstyle, and suddenly a word appeared in Chu Wei's mind: the wavy hairstyle is the standard for a scumbag. At that moment, Chu Wei coughed dryly and said, "No, it's only a few days. But why do I feel like I haven't seen you for a long time? Could it be, is this the so-called absence of one day is like 3 autumns? Chu Wei was stunned. "Are you teasing me?" I saw Tang Meyer opening the car door and walking out on red high heels. Tang Meyer is a plump goddess, and she has a strong scent of perfume, which gives people a vague masculine hormonal impulse after smelling it. Classmate Chu, I came to you this time to bring you big business. The 50 weapons you refined last time have been sold out, so I plan to get 100 this time. Moreover, there are also orders for second-level weapons. As long as you accept the order, the price is not an issue." Tang Meyer directly stated her intention. Chu Wei thought for a moment and said, "It's no problem to refine weapons, but this time I don't want spiritual energy pills anymore. I want super large spiritual energy raw stones, black steel, and materials with gold, wood, earth, and water properties, great raw materials." Tang Meyer frowned after hearing this. Materials with gold, wood, earth, and water powers often appeared in the Chamber of Commerce. However, Xiangang does not appear very often, especially the super large raw spiritual energy stones. This item is a hot commodity. Not only does it not exist in Taiyuan City, but even if it appears in other big cities, it will lead to fierce competition. Because the oversized raw spiritual energy stone has so many uses, it can not only be used to refine weapons and carve formations, but can also be used for cultivation. It can be said to be a 4th-level material. Classmate Chu, I can't meet many of the conditions you mentioned. Raw materials with gold, wood, earth, and water powers will often appear in our Chamber of Commerce. I can help you pay attention. As for Xiangang, it depends on luck. Our Chamber of Commerce also has some contacts with chambers of commerce in other surrounding cities. We can also help you pay attention to this. It's just that I think you also know that oversized spiritual energy stones are very difficult to appear in a place like ours. Chu Wei nodded. He had never thought that the Tang Family Chamber of Commerce could help him raise all the materials to break the formation. It was enough to provide some raw materials with special powers. As for the black steel and the super large spiritual energy stone, he will figure out a solution when the time comes. After all, what he wants to break is the 5th-level spiritual energy formation. It can't be that easy. Then I'll trouble you. Tang Meyer had a smile on her face. "No trouble, I'm just afraid that you won't bother me, little sister. If you don't cooperate with me, I'm afraid little sister will starve to death." "How is that possible? How is it impossible? Think about it, Last time we made Linwei of the Weapon Masters Guild so embarrassed, how could he provide weapons to our Chamber of Commerce? So, if you don't cooperate with me in the future, little sister, I will be ruined. Super God System becomes infinitely stronger. Author, Xu Xiangzike. Chapter 85. Chu Wei shook his head. It was really exaggerated. Even if the Tang family Chamber of Commerce stopped selling weapons, they would not be broke. They also had other businesses such as elixirs and materials, and weapons were just one of them. So, you must not leave the young lady behind in the future. Tang Meier's beautiful face suddenly approached Chu Wei and whispered in Chu Wei's ear. The warm breath blew into Chu Wei's ears. Chu Wei was slightly stunned. He felt that the other party was like a seductive goblin. Tang Meier spoke again in Chu Wei's ear, "We have a deal." Warm air blew into Chu Wei's ears again. After that, Tang Meier smiled and got on her spiritual convertible sports car. At the same time, she waved to Chu Wei, "Come up quickly. I heard that someone came to our Chamber of Commerce to sell goods today. Maybe there will be the supernatural materials you want." "Well, okay. Who cares? It's not a loss to cooperate with Tang Meier anyway." Chu Wei. Just as Chu Wei was about to get in the car, a cold voice stopped Chu Wei. Chu Wei looked back and saw that it was the cold and aloof class beauty Mo Kongxiu who appeared not far from the school gate. Mo Kongxiu. Chu Wei stopped getting on the car. Mo Kongxiu walked over calmly. She was wearing a white top and a short skirt today, revealing her fair legs. When she got closer, Mo Kongxiu said, "I have something to tell you." "Well, go ahead. I want to invite you to a movie." Chu Wei was stunned. Is she asking me out? Without waiting for Chu Wei to answer, Mo Kongxiu said, "Don't think too much. I'm asking you to a movie because I want to thank you for the gift you gave me." Mo Kongxiu didn't dare to look at Chu Wei when she spoke, and her hands were tightly clenched. After all, this was her first time to ask a boy out. And she even picked a beautiful short skirt that showed off her figure. "Well, okay." Chu Wei agreed generously. "It's just a movie, and she won't eat me. But I have to go to the Chamber of Commerce with Sister Tang Meier first, or you can wait for me at the entrance of the cinema." "No, I'll go with you, anyway, it's Sunday and I have nothing to do." Chu Wei looked at Tang Meier. Tang Meier said she didn't object and opened the door of the sports car directly. After getting in the car, Mo Kongxiu insisted on pulling Chu Wei to sit in the back seat of the sports car. It seemed that she didn't like Chu Wei and Tang Meier getting too close. At this moment, Mo Kongxiu was also muttering in her heart, "Why do I feel uncomfortable when I see this guy with Tang Meier? Could it be, I'm jealous? Could it be, this is what others often say, the feeling of liking someone?" When he arrived at the Chamber of Commerce, Chu Wei met the merchant who came to the Tang family Chamber of Commerce to sell things today. As Tang Meier said, he just happened to have the materials of the gold's supernatural power. But what made Chu Wei a little embarrassed was that he had no money on him and couldn't buy other people's materials. That's right, the reward Chu Wei got when he traded with Tang Meier last time was almost all spiritual energy pills, no coins. However, Tang Meier seemed to see Chu Wei's difficulties and took the initiative to help Chu Wei buy it, saying that it could be deducted from the wages of refining equipment. So Chu Wei took on a loan. After handling this matter, Chu Wei and Mo Kongxiu came out of the Chamber of Commerce together. Just after walking out of the Tang family Chamber of Commerce, a familiar voice came from the front of Chu Wei, "Cousin, it's this kid, he is Chu Wei, he beat me in the martial arts building yesterday. Damn it, my face still hurts." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super God System becomes infinitely stronger. Author, Xu Xiangzike. Chapter 86. Chu Wei looked up and saw a group of people walking towards the Chamber of Commerce from the intersection of the street, and one of them was Lu Neng, whom Chu Wei had insulted yesterday. "Don't worry, cousin, your matter is your cousin's matter. Although Chu Wei is now very famous, your cousin is not a coward. I will help you get rid of your anger." A young man who looked a bit like Lu Neng in the crowd spoke up. He was Lu Neng's cousin, Zhang Wu. Zhang Wu is also from the Ziyuling school. In the school, Zhang Wu can be regarded as a famous person. It is said that he has reached the realm of spiritual energy level 9. If he can successfully enter the realm of a superpower, then at his age, he will definitely be rated as an SS level student by the school. "Lu Neng, you are angry. You should know that in addition to Zhang Wu, we also have brother Mo here. It will take a few minutes for a group of us to deal with Chu Wei." Zhuangguo, one of the few people, spoke up. He has a spiritual energy level of 6, and his strength is similar to that of Lu Neng. He usually has a close relationship with Lu Neng. "That's right, today's breath will help you get out of the trance." The other people also agreed, most of them were above level 6 in spiritual energy. In the eyes of the crowd, Chu Wei's reputation was so great because of the title of the top weapon refiner in Taiyuan City. As for Chu Wei's combat strength, everyone guessed that since he could beat Lu Neng, who was level 6 in spiritual energy, he should be between level 7-8. Even if the estimate was wrong and he reached level 9, there was nothing to be afraid of. After all, there were 2 people with level 9 in spiritual energy in their group. Even if Chu Wei was a little tricky, it was impossible to turn the world upside down. The young man called Brother Mo didn't speak, with a bit of arrogance on his face, and his eyes looked at Mo Kongxiu, who was beside Chu Wei opposite. And Mo Kongxiu also saw this young man. The two seemed to know each other, but neither of them said hello. "Chu Wei, we are really enemies on a narrow road." "You didn't expect it," Lu Neng said coldly. "Heh," Chu Wei sneered. When Lu Neng saw this, anger suddenly rose in his eyes. "Chu Wei, don't think that you can look down on the whole school just because you defeated me yesterday. I tell you, you are far inferior to my cousin Zhang Wu." "Ha," Chu Wei sneered again, "did I defeat you yesterday? I insulted you yesterday, okay. Chu Wei, you are really good at talking, don't beg for mercy later. I just want to ask if your face still hurts." "You." Lu Neng instantly gnashed his teeth in hatred, but he didn't dare to take action, so he looked at his cousin Zhang Wu for help. Zhang Wu took a few steps forward, looked at Chu Wei and asked, "Are you Chu Wei? Are you blind?" Chu Wei still spoke in a faint tone. You are so arrogant." Zhang Wu suddenly shouted angrily and punched Chu Wei directly. Chu Wei was the first freshman who dared to talk to him Zhang Wu like this in school. His fist was covered with spiritual energy, which turned into a tiger claw. This was the low-level martial arts he practiced, fierce tiger claw. Looking at the opponent's tiger claw, Chu Wei's disdain became stronger. At this moment, he felt that these classmates in the school were too weak. They were far inferior to his own strength. Chu Wei casually stretched out his hand and grabbed the opponent's tiger claw. With a pinch, the spiritual energy on the opponent's hand dissipated, the tiger claw disappeared, and the original hand was exposed. With another pinch, the opponent's waist bent down because of the pain. "Do you know who I am now?" Chu Wei asked coldly. I know. Zhang Wu felt that his hand was almost broken by the opponent. The tone immediately softened. Pinching Zhang Wu's hand with one hand, Chu Wei looked at the group of people on the other side. The group of people on the other side never thought that Chu Wei would subdue Zhang Wu, who had a spiritual energy level of 9, in one go. This was like a bolt from the blue. They were so panicked that they didn't react at all. Super God System becomes infinitely stronger. Author, Shu Xiangzike. Chapter 87. At that moment, No one spoke. After seeing Chu Wei's eyes, they dared not look at each other. Who would have thought that Chu Wei's strength was so strong? It was directly beyond their expectations. Except for Moge and Mo Kongming. At this moment, Chu Wei and Mo Kongming looked at each other, and Chu Wei said coldly, "What? Aren't you going to do it?" Mo Kongming's eyes turned cold, and the other party was a naked provocation. If you don't dare to do it, don't learn to pretend to be a boss, and call Moge Moge, you are a social person, I want to vomit. You are a fart. When the people from Zhuangguo heard it, they silently stepped back and kept a little distance from Mo Kongming. Although Chu Wei didn't know the background of Mo Kongming and Zhangwu very well, Chu Wei didn't care so much now. His fighting power is now the boss of Taiyuan City. Do you like to be insulted by others so much? Chu Wei looked at Lu Neng at the edge. Lu Neng's face flushed in an instant, and he didn't dare to say a word. And you said your cousin will help you out. My cousin is not a coward. You said that, but do you have the ability to do it? Chu Wei looked down at Zhangwu, who was bent over in pain. Zhangwu gritted his teeth. How could he be so strong? Chu Wei's strength was too unfathomable, and he couldn't even do a single move in his hands. Chu Wei raised his leg and kicked Zhangwu, who rolled 10 meters away. Ouch, my waist. Zhangwu lay on the side of the road and wailed. Chu Wei didn't even look at Zhangwu, took 2 steps forward, and came to Lu Neng's side. What are you going to do? Lu Neng couldn't help but take a step back. What else can I do? I'll insult you again. Chu Wei raised his hand and slapped Lu Neng in the face. Pa! With 2 sounds, Lu Neng turned around twice on the spot, and then fainted on the ground like yesterday. When Zhuangguo and the others saw this, they felt their cheeks ache and regretted it. If I had known that I would encounter this kind of thing today, I would not have gone out. It's all Lu Neng's fault. Why offend such a big guy? This has screwed us all. Chu Wei saw the cowardly expressions of everyone, turned his head and said to Mo Kongxiu with disdain, "Let's go." The other people on the opposite side did not take action, and Chu Wei was too lazy to argue with these clowns one by one. Mo Kongxiu nodded. Chu Wei, I'll give you a piece of advice. You'd better stay away from Mo Kongxiu. Just as the two turned around, Mo Kongming spoke. Chu Wei frowned, turned around, and said, "Do you want to be insulted too?" Mo Kongming suppressed his anger, turned to Mo Kongxiu and said, "Although I don't want to talk to you, my sister, but I tell you that my family is ready to marry you to the Fu family, so stay away from other men in the future. Marry me if you want. I won't marry you. And I don't want to talk to you, my brother." Mo Kongxiu took Chu Wei's hand and was about to leave. Chu Wei was slightly surprised. He didn't expect that Mo Kongming was actually Mo Kongxiu's brother. Mo Kongming said loudly, "Chu Wei, I tell you, you can't afford to offend the people of the Fu family." Chu Wei's eyes turned cold, and he walked a few steps forward to Mo Kongming and said coldly, "I warn you now, if you say another word, I will insult you." Although he just knew that the other party was Mo Kongxiu's brother, since the other party didn't give him face, then he, Mo Kongming, was nothing in front of Chu Wei. "You? What do you mean? Don't tell me about the Fu family or the heavenly family or the earthly family. I tell you, in this world, you have to listen to whoever is more powerful. No one is afraid of my fist. And you must disappear from my sight right now, immediately, or I will beat you up and insult you with my fist." Mo Kongming gritted his teeth, "Chu Wei. I'll count to 3. If you like being insulted, you can stay and try it. 3. 2. Mo Kongming was furious, and finally turned around fiercely and left without looking back. Other people saw this and left in disgrace. Zhang Wu, who was on the street 10 meters away, bent over, limped and wailed and walked away. Now only the fainted Lu Neng was left. Lu Neng never dreamed that he would meet Chu Wei when he just came out to relax today. I thought he could save his face, but I was knocked unconscious here. Super God system becomes infinitely stronger. Author, Xu Xiangzike. Chapter 88. Let's go. Chu Wei spoke to Mo Kongxiu. At the gate of the Chamber of Commerce, Tang Meyer, who had watery eyes, was looking at Chu Wei's leaving figure. I didn't expect that this classmate Xiao Chu is quite domineering, and he is becoming more and more classy. When he came to the cinema, Chu Wei quickly forgot what had just happened. In his own words, he was now as powerful as a big boss in Taiyuan City, and he also had the killer blood chi pill. You must know that the strength of the blood pill given in the system gift pack will increase by 20 times after eating it. This Taiyuan City manages your house, that house, which house, who is Chu Wei afraid of? If you don't accept it, you'll be beaten. The cinemas of this era are similar to the ones on Earth in 2019. After wearing the viewing glasses, the characters in the movie are three-dimensional, just like real people in front of you. A romantic movie watched by Chu Wei and Mo Kongxiu. In fact, Chu Wei didn't like watching romance movies before he traveled through time, especially romance movies with a strong Chinese style. The male and female protagonists in the film are resurrected from death, either from a car accident or from a terminal illness. Chu Wei sometimes wonders what these directors think. If it weren't for a car accident or a terminal illness, there would be no love. But after all, it was Mo Kongxiu's chosen film, so Chu Wei couldn't say anything, so he had to bite the bullet and watch it. Halfway through the movie, when the male and female protagonists fell in love with each other, Chu Wei suddenly found that Mo Kongxiu was leaning her head on his shoulder, and Mo Kongxiu was still crying sadly. Chu Wei suddenly believed it. Someone had said before that when watching Korean dramas with girls, remember to prepare tissues, because most girls will cry. Chu Wei had no choice but to take out a tissue and wipe Mo Kongxiu's tears. Who knew that it would be better not to wipe it, but after wiping it, Mo Kongxiu actually hugged Chu Wei's arm and started crying. The two of them were in physical contact, and Chu Wei only felt that the other person's body was so soft. Chu Wei was slightly startled, and now he could only gently pat Mo Kongxiu's shoulder to express comfort. However, Chu Wei thought in his heart, I'm convinced. I will definitely not watch romance movies with girls when watching ghost movies in the future. Ding! What a painful realization for the host. The reward spiritual energy value is 100,000. The spiritual energy value is 400,000/4 million. Go on, this system is really trying to make fun of itself. After leaving the cinema, Chu Wei saw that Mo Kongxiu seemed to still be in a sad mood, so he ran to buy some snacks. He heard that snacks are the best thing to distract girls. The two of them were eating snacks and walking on the street. From a distance, the boy was handsome and the girl was beautiful. They really looked like a young couple. Thank you. Mo Kongxiu said. In fact, whenever she was alone with Chu Wei, Mo Kongxiu would put away her cold demeanor. Nothing. I used the red liquid you gave me the day before yesterday, and my physique seems to have changed. I feel like I am about to enter the level 1 realm of spiritual energy. Chu Wei smiled. That's great. Yeah, I didn't expect it either. My father had found many alchemists for me before, but he couldn't cure me. Mo Kongxiu was very happy and smiled at Chu Wei again. Chu Wei couldn't help but look at it for a while longer. What are you looking at? Even if you help cure me, I won't commit myself to you. Chu Wei was stunned, never expecting that Mo Kongxiu would say such a thing. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super God system becomes infinitely stronger. Author, Xu Xiangzike. Chapter 89. Amo Kongxiu saw Chu Wei in a daze, and he muttered in his heart, how could I say such a thing? For a moment, the scene was a little awkward. Please take me home. After a while, Amo Kongxiu whispered. Okay. Amo Kongxiu walked in front, and Chu Wei followed behind. After walking for a while, Amo Kongxiu suddenly turned back and asked, what kind of girl do you like? Chu Wei was stunned and shook his head, I haven't thought about it. Amo Kongxiu curled his lips, wooden. Then you like girls like Tang Mei no, women. I haven't thought about it, Chu Wei told the truth, he and Tang Mei are just partners. I haven't thought about this, I haven't thought about that, then what do you think about every day? Chu Wei immediately replied, thinking about how to become stronger. Thinking about how to get stronger and stronger. Amo Kongxiu, wooden. After the two walked for a while, Amo Kongxiu arrived home, and Chu Wei also returned to school. As for what Amo Kongming said before about planning to marry Amo Kongxiu to the Fu family, neither of them mentioned it. In fact, Chu Wei was not sure whether he liked Amo Kongxiu or not. He just thought she looked much better than before. And the two of them had suffered together in the mutant forest, so they were at least friends. As for how much he liked her, Chu Wei didn't think he liked her. Let's just leave Amo Kongxiu like this for now. Just let's call her a good friend. Let's keep getting stronger. Only getting stronger can make me happy. Chu Wei laughed on the way to school. Only the strong can decide everything. Just like if he wanted to be with Amo Kongxiu, he didn't care whether it was the Fu family or which family. As long as Amo Kongxiu agreed, he would beat up the so-called Fu family. This is a strong man. The next day, it was Monday again, and all the roommates went to class early in the morning. Chu Wei, as a relative who was the focus of the principal's attention, could arrange his own time freely. Chu Wei did not go to class, but went to the dark cave on the back mountain of the school. Sitting cross-legged, Chu Wei pinched a spell with both hands, and the great devouring technique began to work. A transparent vortex slowly formed behind Chu Wei. At this moment, the surrounding spiritual energy was forcibly sucked into this vortex as if being pulled. Half an hour later, Chu Wei exhaled a long breath, put away the spell, and the transparent vortex behind him disappeared. Standing up and clenching his fists, Chu Wei felt that the spiritual energy in his body had become stronger again. The system reports my spiritual energy value. Ding. The host's current spiritual energy value is 500,000/4 million. The Great Devouring Technique really increases the spiritual energy value by 100,000 per absorption. Walking out of the cave, Chu Wei took a breath. The air was the same as yesterday. After being absorbed by the Great Devouring Technique, there was no trace of spiritual energy in the air within 1,000 meters around. What a domineering technique! Chu Wei practiced for the second time today. He slowly felt the domineering nature of the Great Devouring Technique. This technique forcibly absorbed the surrounding spiritual energy, and it was completely an attitude of I want spiritual energy, and spiritual energy must come to me. If this is not domineering, what is it? Chu Wei smiled. He didn't expect that he would actually comment that a technique is domineering. Fortunately, the spiritual energy in the air reappears every day. Otherwise, I would absorb all the spiritual energy in every place I go to practice, and then other spiritual practitioners would gang up on me and kill me, a guy who madly occupies public resources. Haha. Chu Wei laughed a few times, then walked to a piece of bluestone and took out a high-level martial arts suction forbidden hand from the storage space of his mobile phone to read it. This martial arts book was the one Chu Wei took with him when he chose the martial arts. Suction forbidden hand, condense the spiritual energy in the palm of your hand to form a vortex with strong suction. When used against the enemy, you can directly absorb the enemy and at the same time imprison others' bodies for a short time. Super God system becomes infinitely stronger. Author, Xu Xiangzike. Chapter 90. The distance value of absorbing the enemy is determined by the spiritual strength of the cultivator. The stronger the cultivation level, the farther away the enemy can be absorbed. After Chu Wei read the cultivation method, he stretched out his hand, and the spiritual energy condensed in his palm, turning into a vortex. At the same time, waves of suction continued to spread from the palm of Chu Wei's palm. The trees in front of Chu Wei's palm were attracted and pulled, and the branches and leaves swayed violently. Even the stones on the ground moved due to the suction. With several whoosh sounds, several small stones on the ground were pulled directly towards Chu Wei's palm by suction, and finally stopped about 10 centimeters in front of Chu Wei's palm and were imprisoned in the air. "Suck the forbidden hand, suck it for me!" Chu Wei shouted loudly, and more spiritual energy poured into the vortex in his left hand. The suction force suddenly increased, and with a snap sound, a branch as thick as an arm was sucked off the big tree by Chu Wei. Not enough. Chu Wei's suction force increased, and a gray boulder as tall as a person not far in front of Chu Wei began to shake. Then the boulder lifted up and was sucked directly by Chu Wei, settling in front of Chu Wei. Chu Wei smiled at the corner of his mouth, holding the boulder in place with his left hand, making a fist with his right hand, and with one punch, the boulder, which was about the same height as himself, immediately turned into pieces. This forbidden hand seems to be pretty good. It will just work with my power arm in the future. Although the arm of power is very powerful, it has a certain prelude and may be avoided by the enemy. But now with this suction hand, it can just suck in and imprison the enemy, so that the enemy has no way to hide. These two martial arts can actually achieve a perfect coordination. This was a complete surprise that Chu Wei didn't expect. Chu Wei nodded with satisfaction. Then Chu Wei smiled, his right hand soared, and a ball of blazing flame suddenly appeared. It was the fire power that Chu Wei had obtained before. Chu Wei waved his hand, and the flames swept out like tongues of fire. The flame attack had a wide range, just like a wall of fire. The attack range of the fire power is very large. You can use the fire power to deal with a group of enemies in the future. Chu Wei nodded thinking, and then a red light flashed on his left hand, and the red lightning formed a ball shape on Chu Wei's hand. At this moment, Chu has red lightning in his left hand and flames in his right hand. He stood on the blue stone, his slight bangs swaying in the breeze. At this moment, Chu Wei was like the son of an immortal from the comics. He waved his left and right hands forward, and the flames were like a wall, and the red electricity was like a power grid. The two superpowers instantly reduced everything within a few dozen meters around Chu Wei to ashes. Even the land turned into a scorched black mark under the plunder of the two supernatural powers. This is the power Chu Wei has now. Chu Wei smiled and nodded with satisfaction. He was very satisfied with today's test. Then Chu Wei went to school. Since he had accepted Tang Meier's order, there were still 100 weapons left to refine. It was time to refine some weapons. Now Chu Wei is very famous in Taiyuan City for refining weapons. If Chu Wei wanted to, Chu Wei felt that he could become a rich man in Taiyuan City just by taking orders with his skill in refining weapons. He would hang out with girls every day and drive sports cars. It's totally okay to have several beautiful wives. It's been almost 2 months since I came here. When Chu Wei passed by the back mountain, Chu Wei looked at the place where he first obtained the system. That was when the squad leader's henchmen asked him to bury the zombie corpses. Looking back on the past 2 months, Chu Wei still remembered that when he first came here, the squad leader and his lackeys would bully him no matter what. And time has passed, and now, those who once bullied Chu Wei were either beaten to tears by Chu Wei, or beaten up by Chu Wei so much that even his father didn't recognize him. It's all thanks to the system. System, thank you. Ding. Feeling the admiration from the host, the system turns on the crazy reward mode. System prompt: rewards are about to start, Countdown is 5, 4,